In the United Kingdom, for several weeks now, there have been protests and even riots that have been occurring in response to the stabbing of three young girls at a Taylor Swift-themed dance school. I think this is relevant to discuss on Don't Talk TV for a couple of reasons. One, because of some of the overlap we can see with what's going on in the United Kingdom, not the riots, but what led up to them, and Canada, and also because of some threats that have been made by British police about seeking extradition of people who talk about these events online in the wrong way. Hello, my name's Nicholas Wansbutter. I'm a lawyer in Stratford, Ontario, Canada, and welcome to Don't Talk TV. Viewers may be aware of the protests and the riots that have been going on in the United Kingdom. It's been happening for several weeks now. If we look back at what spurred this all, I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back appears to have been this knife attack that happened in late July in the city, I believe it was Southport in England. A young man by the name of Axel Rudakabana, who's born in the United Kingdom, but his family is from Rwanda. He went to this Taylor Swift-themed dance school. He stabbed to death three young girls, and he attacked 10 other individuals. Now, the reason I say this is the straw that broke the camel's back is because I don't think that the riots that are going on and the protests that are happening in Britain are solely in response to this incident. Britain, in my view, appears to be a few years ahead of the curve of Canada, but we see a lot of the same things happening in Britain that I've talked about in Canada here, with mass immigration and also with unequal application of the law. Essentially one set of laws for one group of people and another set of laws for another group of people. And I think we see the same themes of who is treated more harshly by the law and who is held to a higher standard and who is held to a lesser standard. Let's just take a look at a couple examples before we get into a bit more of this talk of extradition that I mentioned in the preamble. The United Kingdom is a country where if you're Muslim, you get 18 months jail for raping a young girl on the subways, where you can get no jail at all if you're Muslim, but you say that you didn't know that it was a crime to have sex with a 13-year-old. The principle has always been that ignorance of the law is no excuse, and serious crimes have to have serious penalties, but in the United Kingdom, that appears not to be the case for certain individuals. Or if you're a mother of five who encourages her terrorist attacks on pro-ISIS Facebook pages, you don't get jail. Compare and contrast that with what's been happening to people who've been protesting. I'm not even talking about rioters here. Let's start with protesters first. We can see Cleveland police here posted, they're proud of this fact, pointing out that a gentleman named Stephen Malin was sentenced to 26 months of jail for being in the face of officers gesticulating and shouting. So, advocating actual mass murder for ISIS or raping young girls, no jail. Gesturing and yelling at police, 26 months. Or this other individual, Ryan Shears, he also got 26 months for shouting and refusing to move and then getting bitten by a police dog. I don't know if attacking the police dog's teeth with his buttocks was an aggravating factor or not. Here's just a couple pictures of these men with the gesticulating and yelling that they're doing, so we can here see this is the crime that's worthy of 26 months jail, and here's that second individual being bitten on the bottom by that police dog and getting some jail time tacked onto him for that. Now, they've been having mass immigration for longer than Canada has, and it seems that things have really come to a head. And the police are obviously very upset that anyone is opposing the official narrative. It's all the same sorts of insults we saw with the Freedom Convoy, right? It's racism, it's white nationalism, it's based on misinformation, and the police are getting really tough on people who spread that quote-unquote misinformation. So I have open here an article from Fox News, but it's been reported in a number of other places, and it's titled, UK Police Commissioner Threatens to Extradite Jail US Citizens Over Online Posts. We'll Come After You, Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law, the police commissioner warned. So this came out on August the 9th. Just look at this quickly. So London's Metropolitan Police Chief warned that officials will not only be cracking down on British citizens for commentary on the riots in the UK, but on American citizens as well. We will throw the full force of the law at people, and whether you're in this country committing crimes on the streets or committing crimes from further afield online, we will come after you, Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley told Sky News. Now, apparently it was American commentators guilty of wrongthink who were specifically the target of the police commissioner, but this could certainly apply to Canadians as well, or anyone. The internet is accessible from hundreds of countries around the world, certainly accessible from Canada. So is there extradition possibilities if from Canada you opt to post something that's contrary to the acceptable official narrative? Well, yes, Canada clearly has extradition treaties with the United Kingdom, and you could be extradited. So let's take a quick look at that. So I've just opened here to the justice.gc.ca, Government of Canada Department of Justice website that talks about the general overview of the Canadian extradition process. So this is quite handy to look at because it gives a nice overview without having to get into the depths of the law, which you can certainly do. So Canada is able to extradite persons to stand trial for imposition of sentence or to serve a sentence at the request of a foreign state or entity that is an extradition partner under Canada's Extradition Act. United Kingdom is a partner under the Extradition Act. A person may be extradited from Canada only if the alleged criminal conduct in question and for which the extradition is requested is recognized as criminal by both countries. Well, we know very well that wrongthink is a crime in Canada. Have a look at episode 16, episode 136, 195, and 199 for more on that. And it says that the foreign country may seek the extradition of a person in two ways, by providing Canada with a formal extradition request and supporting documentation, or by requesting the person's provisional arrest, which must then be followed by a formal extradition request. We won't go through the steps of how that happens in detail because that's not my purpose in this video. My purpose is just to demonstrate that it is very possible that you could be arrested and extradited to the United Kingdom if the United Kingdom requests that, if you post something that the British police don't like about what's going on in the United Kingdom. So govern yourself accordingly. Now, what are the chances of this happening? Well, that's interesting to ponder. Is it likely that one could be extradited to the United Kingdom? There is precedent in Canadian law. The first case that comes to mind is the case of Ernst Zundel. Now, he wasn't a Canadian citizen. He lived in Canada for 40 years. He was a landed immigrant. He was denied citizenship, but he was prosecuted in Canada for hate crime, for questioning certain aspects of the Holocaust. He was acquitted ultimately in Canada for various reasons. It went all the way up to the Supreme Court, but as the law was at that time, he was acquitted. I don't think he would be now, certainly given the Conservative Party of Canada's anti-Holocaust denial or downplaying law that we've covered previously. But at that time, he was acquitted in Canada, so they extradited him to Germany, which had different laws, and he served 5 years in jail. So there's certainly precedents in Canadian history to extradite individuals to foreign countries if they run afoul of that country's anti-hate crime laws. So that is certainly a risk. I think it's a realistic risk. I don't know how high the percentage chance is, but it's certainly a realistic risk. So again, I recommend that anyone who's considering commenting on what's going on in the United Kingdom on social media to be aware of this and govern yourself accordingly. Now, of course, this video is not specific legal advice. If you're looking to maybe post something, you have questions, you need specific advice to specifically what you're contemplating posting. So you should call a lawyer to seek that advice. If you want me to be that lawyer, my contact information is listed below. We're always interested in your suggestions or requests for things you'd like to see us cover on this channel. We want to be responsive in giving you the content that you're interested in. So if there is something you'd like to hear about, please send an email to the email address listed below. That's the easiest way for us to catalog and keep track of those requests. And if you found this video at all interesting, helpful, or informative, please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and following us on social media.